Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're going to wait a minute because apparently I had the wrong meeting started, so we'll let folks come in.
All right.
The right camera. There it is. Our connection is encrypted. Okay, that's new. Started with the generalities. Let me put away. Calling this meeting to order. It is Wednesday, February 28th at 19:06 hours. And we are at Kidder Communications headquarters, 5 North Main Street, Suite 309, Cedar City, Utah. We are going to be using artificial intelligence to keep notes of this and also a recording of this for legal purposes. So if you do speak, we ask that you state your name so that the AI can attribute a correct person with the words. And we'll get started with, I didn't do an agenda, but it's pretty much always the same agenda. So we'll start with our financial report. Our aged receivables, we have none over 60 days. So one thing I do just to kind of minimize the impact, late fees and that kind of thing. If somebody has an invoice, say, well, like we have one for Steve and Diane Ellis. There was no payment made in December, but they made one in February. So I always apply that payment to the oldest aged receivable to try to minimize those late fees. And I think they're pretty good about if I tell them, hey, you forgot, that they catch up on it. So all of our aged receivables are under 30 days. Right now, Chase and Patria have a $7,000 invoice for the plumbing repairs that had to be made, where the street had to be torn up and everything. Cynthia, you have $150 for the month of February. Jennifer Young has $150. Pete, $150. Steve and Diane for February, even though they paid in February, they got applied to their December invoice. And then Trevor and Weston have $100. Outstanding. We had money in the bank until we wrote that check for the plumbing. So that was $7,000 is what we had to pay. And at the last meeting, it was voted on that Chase should be responsible for that. And that is because he is the only one on that sewer line. And the damage, according to the city, was caused by inappropriate things being flushed, which caused a clog, which caused the sewer line to separate from the city line, which caused a leak, which caused the city line to settle 3 feet, which is why they've been tearing up the street, because they're now repairing that. So we voted that that should be Chase's responsibility. And all of these meetings are filmed, recorded. I think there was one that I forgot to hit record on, but they're all on the HOA's website, eastgatehoa.org, and anybody can go back and watch those Zoom meetings, the Zoom version of the meetings. They're all recorded. So right now in the bank, we have about $1,000. Plus we have $20,000 in CDs, and we have made $1,000 in interest on those CDs. President's report. We had the sewer leak. The city is now tearing up the street to repair that. I asked if they needed us to do anything, and they said no. They said that they have a system down with vacuum trucks and other stuff. And so when Inlay came out and did the repair, they needed both of those houses to not flush or use water or anything. But the city said, no, we don't need anybody to do anything. We do this all the time. So hopefully they will, if the weather stays nice, get that completed, and then they will get the pavement back on the street. And they're also going to pave where Emily dug for Chase's property without charging us for it. So we got lucky on that one, because that could have been a much bigger bill than we had hoped it would be. So Jen said she was going to try to join us. chance to.
Who else is in attendance?
We have Mrs. Myers is in attendance. We have Scott. We have Tom. And we have received messages and emails from Julie Wood, from the Wachowskis, Gerardo Lopez, Jaden Thomas. Right? Folks, time because I had that wrong meeting up. I went and started it early so everybody could get on without any problems. Maybe the right meeting started. I think what happened is Zoom has a calendar feature. So we always put the meetings into the calendar feature and it assigns to a recurring meeting. But I think Zoom has changed our website link meeting from that recurring meeting. So I don't think they're the same meeting. Let's jump into this for the time being. Totally changed this entire thingamajig. All right. I was hoping Chase would be here because I wanted to get his permission before I shared any of this information, because it's his privacy. So everybody see? I want to put it up on the big TV. Tom, scoot over here. That's right. I can scoot. Date on it. On February 15th at 9:07 a.m., I received text from Cynthia Van Alst with a bunch of pictures and videos. I was not sure what I was looking at, so my response to her is, what am I looking at? And the response was, the inside of the house on the street, it smells like weed in there, nasty. You get $600 a month from each room. My response was, when were these taken? She replied, this morning at 8:52 a.m. I replied, did you have Chase's permission to be in there? Her response was, the front door was wide open and there were 3 large piles of dog crap in his front yard. I'm guessing that he may not want the front door left open. I don't know, but he got SUU students living in there and it's nasty. I texted him asking about a tenant's car parked on the street that needed to be moved for construction on the sewer. I was able to get another tenant to help us get the owner of that car. My response was, I hope you know that this is not okay and there will be serious consequences. If it were my house, you would be in handcuffs right now. I would like your board resignation as soon as possible. If legal action occurs, you will not be protected by the D&O policy of Eastgate. Her response was, apparently you have issues with me. I'm only trying to help. You became president for a reason, though I'll stop helping. And mine was, you committed a crime in the name of the HOA. She responded at 1:38 p.m. It's not a crime when a homeowner is aware. I contacted Chase Powell at 9:07 and I forwarded him all of the information. He forwarded me that Cynthia had notified him at 11 a.m. that this had occurred. The matter has been turned over to the Cedar City Police Department and the Cedar City Attorney's Office. I was asked by Officer Ron Condi to come in and fill out a witness statement 2 days later. And as of that time, he told me that charges were going to be filed. I don't know if that has happened or not. So I know that was a question that had come up. I'm going to show you the photos and the video that were taken. And Mrs. Myers, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Where's my audio? Thought there was audio. So one point of commentary here, you see knocking on the door and then trying to open the door. According to Chase, and this was told to me by Officer Condi, one of the rooms was occupied by a sleeping tenant that she walked in. She was visible there in the mirror. That was a point of issue for Officer Condi, and the evidence that, you know, who we say takes the video took the video. There's audio, and I'm not sure why it's not. It's all the way up. That is the one video. This is the other video. It was shorter, and these are the photographs. Problem is the zoom is covering all the controls.
Don't you think Chase should be here if this was important to him? I mean, it's his property, right?
He said he was going to be.
What was the purpose in her sending you these pictures?
That's a very good question. I can only speculate, but since Cynthia's here, she can elaborate on that. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Hi, Mrs. Myers. How are you?
Thank you.
Good. We had the city knocked on my door and asked if I knew whose car was in the way of the heavy equipment that was in front of that home. So I contacted the homeowner, and I didn't know whose car it was, and sent him a picture of the car. And I knocked on the door, and a tenant came to the door and said he didn't know he said it wasn't his car, but he thought he knew whose it was. I asked him if I could take a look at what Chase had did to the showers, because I knew I'm just a nosy realtor and just wanted to see what he did to the showers in there. And
there he is.
That was it.
Yeah.
So Chase is here now.
Slide over.
And what was your purpose in sending the pictures to
Dan, it was just to help Dan. He hasn't seen the inside of that property, and he asked a lot of questions about our water and stuff like that. It's just an additional shower that had been added, and I was just showing it to him. Like I said, only thing I can do is apologize at this point in time. The purpose was to get a car moved so it wouldn't be towed. We have a lot of problems with this HOA, and I was trying to be helpful neighbor because the city knocked on my door, asked me if I knew whose car it was so we wouldn't have problems. Well, that that was it. But Dan has gone off the deep end here on all of this. There wasn't any damages or criminal things that were done. I can't vote, Dan, because I didn't pay my dues last month.
Actually, you're not over 60 days.
Oh, okay, so I can vote for myself to stay on the board and put up with more abuse from you. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. So I'm happy to, whatever it is that happens, I don't think he's got to have 6 votes or something, Mrs. Myers, to vote me not to be here. But I don't know who else wants to be secretary and treasurer. And if there's someone else that he can get to show up to the board meetings and participate in the HOA, more power, and I called Mr. Powell, and he's here now too with his wife, and I apologize in person now for entering your property without formal consent. I'm just trying to help so you don't have any problems with your tenants getting their car. We're trying to get the city to fix the sewer, and I think we're pretty lucky that it got done, and that we didn't have a problem with the car getting towed. I don't know if there was any damages. I did go and talk to an attorney, asked if, we looked at the CCNRs. He's telling me there's nothing in there that I did criminally. I also asked about these criminal accusations that Mr. Dan, this is not his property, by the way. He's just the president of the HOA. It's Mr. Powell's property. And if he had a problem with it, wouldn't he be the one that would go to the police and file a complaint?
I actually filed trespassing charges
Okay, so
with the police department and the city attorney.
okay, so that's good to know. So I'm trying to find out what's going on too, Mrs. Myers, and only thing I can say is that I can apologize for my actions. There wasn't any ill intent.
Well, there was, because there definitely was.
Well, I was the one that was there, and I'm the one who did it, so I can
I
tell you
listened
what
to
I
your
intended.
video. That was ill intent in the video.
Yeah, I couldn't get the audio to play on here for some reason.
I mean, in the video, you were saying things that were inaccurate and saying things like I should be shut down.
Well,
So-
do you hold a business license to run that?
It's none of your business.
Oh, okay.
I just have one thing to say about this situation because it sounds personal. It sounds that it's, between Dan and you, and we're just being dragged into this. And I feel that you're right in the sense that if the owner feels that he's been harmed or by your actions, and that's something that he needs to address himself. But as of right now, I don't see any true motive. Maybe because I don't have enough information to vote you out. I feel that there's more to this story, but I don't know enough to vote you out. And
So can I give a little more light on the situation, I guess? I'm the homeowner.
okay.
Will you state your name because
Yeah,
the AI is gonna.
My name's Chase Powell.
This is the homes where all the college kids live?
Correct.
Okay, that used to be a nursing home or something. Now,
Yes.
is this building considered like an apartment
No,
building,
it's considered a house.
a house of its own, which different people come in and out, right?
Correct. There's multiple tenants that live there.
Okay,
So I actually spoke with all my tenants to try to clear some things up. This is not the first time that Cynthia has helped herself into my front door and into my property, according to my tenants. Tenants said that she's come in through the front door with her dog before, while he was doing the dishes in the kitchen. That was something I wasn't aware of because they didn't see any harm from it.
What you're talking about.
And so they didn't, alert me that that was a problem. And in my opinion, he was there at the front door and was able to help whatever she needed help with. But she just opened the front door and walked in that day. On the day of questioning, supposedly the front door was open. None of my tenants said that they gave her authority to come in the house. which is what Cynthia said had happened. So all the tenants said none of them saw her or talked to her. She came in and started videoing in my apartments, knocking on doors, opening doors that were unlocked. One of the tenants was in bed sleeping when she opened the door, and you can see it in the video, and then closed the door and continued videoing and then left. And she did text me that morning after she left the property and told me, hey, there's a car that needs to be moved. I promptly texted the tenant. The car was moved within 8 minutes and it was taken care of. So if she would have just texted me before she entered my property,
No, I did.
there wouldn't have been any problems.
I
But
did.
according to the timeline from when Cynthia texted Dan the images and when Cynthia texted me, she texted Dan before that,
That's
which means
not
she
true.
took the pictures and videos before.
That's not true.
9:07 is when you texted me.
Here.
Yep.
I have it right here. And
So do we.
I texted you on February 15th at 8:50 a.m. It says, hey, we need a tenant to move their car. And then I sent you a picture of the car that needed to be towed.
Yeah.
And by the way, the city who knocked on the door, the guys that were working were standing right there. They saw everything that happened.
Okay.
They came to my door.
So are they the ones that let you into my property?
Why would I need to be let into your property when the tenant was there and the door was
None of the
open?
tenants said they let you into the property.
Well, that guy smelled like weed. The whole
Okay,
house
so now
did.
you're going to
So are
something
you law
totally different.
enforcement?
No, and neither are you. And
Yeah.
this is an HOA meeting.
This is an HOA
And
meeting,
you're
but
trying
you
to
don't have
hold
what's called
charges.
exigent circumstances to enter.
Okay, here's the deal,
illegally.
guys. I have an attorney. I haven't
Mrs.
done
Myers.
anything
So
wrong.
Mrs. Myers,
and I don't
I
need
did
this crap.
I
This
did
is an
contact-
HOA meeting, for crying out loud.
I did talk to the city attorney and to the police officers, and they felt like there was enough there to file trespassing charges.
I will be talking to Mr.
So-
Officer Condi on Monday about this matter, but I
That's
don't
fine.
think it concerns the HOA.
Well, it does when you're on the
because
board.
you're
and
on the
helping
board
yourself
and you
into
did
people's
that as a
property.
member of the board.
No. Just because, and then CC&Rs,
Mhm.
by the way, this is coming from Jim Denson.
Mhm.
He's an HOA attorney. Okay, he specializes in real estate. I spent $200 and some odd to go talk to him.
Super.
Okay, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't do something wrong. Okay, you can be on an HOA board and you can be friends with your neighbors and you can go in and out of their properties with if you
You don't get to go in and out of people's properties without their permission.
Would you
is
like
my neighbor and he is part of our HOA. And have I been in your house before?
But by invitation.
Invitation.
Okay.
but that was-
Right, but if
that's like you just walking into your
if
front
somebody
door.
asks you to leave and you don't leave,
No.
that's
no.
trespassing. That
No,
is
The
trespassing.
city attorney
not with
thought there was
private
enough
residence.
information there to press charges.
Nobody asked me to leave. The
Nobody
tenant
invited
was
you in.
standing
No
at
one
the door.
invited
Yes,
you
he
in,
did. He was
Cynthia.
standing right there and there's witnesses.
You better find him because
I know what he looks like. I don't know his
you
name
better
because
find him
there's a
because
lot
you're
of
going to
kids
need him
living
in your
there.
criminal trial.
That's okay. I'm not a criminal and I have an attorney
Good.
and the CC&Rs didn't say that I did anything wrong.
Well,
And
The state law
defini-
of the state of Utah. says you did
Okay, why
something.
don't you quote me the law
the fact
because
of the
I
matter
got
is-
it right here.
the fact of the matter is you
Cynthia, no
trespassed
one
and I'm
invited
pressing
you in.
trespassing charges so that you do not come onto my property again.
Utah Criminal Code 76-6206, trespassing. So you need to know what the definition of trespassing is. If you go into somebody's property and they ask you to leave and you don't
No,
leave,
that's on their
you are now
land.
trespassing.
That's on land.
publicly accessible
Okay,
property.
well, you guys are losing sight of the whole thing here. You guys want to run things where people are getting their cars towed because you're backing up the city sewer and all this other stuff, and you're going to take it out on me. The city came to me, knocked on my door, asked me,
To walk into
Find
Jason's
your
house, film his
car
bathroom,
within
open the
the
bedroom
way.
doors.
Cynthia, the only thing that I'm
I'm trying to
upset, the
help.
only thing I'm upset
And you
about
guys
is
have
that
serious
you walked
personal
into my
problems
property
here.
on your own volition, videoed it, talking about
I do
how
all
it's
the time.
dirty and I need to be shut down and I don't have a business license and all these things.
This was not a property
Listen.
to list, Cynthia.
I have
This is
already
someone's home.
apologized to you. No, it's not. There's
This is
11
someone's
people in
home.
there.
And
It's
that's
11
their
people's homes.
Okay,
That's what I'm
I
saying,
agree.
Cynthia.
It's a house.
That is someone,
I
that people
agree.
are living there,
Yep.
and that's why if
They
Dan
deserve
had,
their privacy.
if
can't
Dan
breach
had
that
walked
privacy.
in to the female housing unannounced, without anyone inviting him in, walking through, opening the doors.
Yeah.
Does that sound appropriate?
Videoing it.
I'm
Absolutely
and
not.
That's not what
But what
happened.
I'm saying is it's no different for you to walk in to someone's property, someone's home. We don't have you
I
under
understand
contract as
that.
a
That's
realtor.
not what happened.
We did not ask you to come in.
That's
We did not
what the
ask you to
video
walk
shows.
I
in.
am your neighbor.
Exactly, and I don't want
Somebody
you just
asked
walking
me.
into the
Well,
house.
I
Nobody,
did
nobody
that.
asked you.
That's
Nobody,
all I'm
nobody on that
saying.
property asked you to walk
I
in
knocked
and
on the
videotape
door
and open the
and the
doors.
tenant let me in. You guys
What
are
about the
stupid.
door? What about the door that you opened with the kid in his bed sleeping?
I
It's
don't know what
just
you're
really
talking
difficult
about.
I do, 'cause it's in the video.
to
But I don't
explain to
even
the
know what you're
tenants
talking
that-
about. Nobody was sleeping.
He was,
Well-
because when I texted him, it was the kid with the room, the car, and he got up and he goes, "Yeah, someone just opened my door and poked their head in with a camera."
So
And I'm
that was
sure
his
he'll be
turn, and
testifying
he
in
was
the
sitting
court.
there and he
No,
told me it
He was
wasn't
in bed
his car.
sleeping.
The tenant I talked to told me that was not his car, but he thought
You're right.
he
You
knew
didn't
who
talk to
it
him because he was in
was.
bed sleeping when you opened the door to his bedroom.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, go back and watch the video you took illegally, and you'll see.
Cynthia, you didn't bump into anyone in the video other than the people in their room.
The guy told me it was okay to go look and see.
I'm saying
the
they're not in the
bathrooms.
video.
There's
Did he tell you it was
pictures
okay to
of
go
your
video?
showers.
Right. You did go all the way through the house.
You went
There's
and
photos
knocked
of
on
the
every door.
I'm a
showers.
real estate agent.
What does that have to do with someone's home that you're not listing?
Okay,
That, you see the
you
problem
guys
there?
aren't real estate agents, so you
You're-
don't know what we do.
Cynthia,
Excuse me.
I
I'm
understand.
not
Excuse
saying
me.
what it
Tom,
is.
just state your name,
I
please.
already apologized.
My name is Tom Sanders. Now, I got a question. You're a real estate agent. Not for much longer if Trish has his way. But that's beside the point.
You guys-
Does that give
You
you
need
the
to
right?
have something better to do with your life.
I have
Right.
a million things better to do with my life. That's why I was late to this meeting. I've got other things that I
Yeah, I
have to
do
do.
too.
Be it
So Tom has the
too.
floor.
Tom has
So
the
do
floor.
I. But now, you said as a real estate agent, you had the right to go in there. No, you
No,
didn't.
that's not what I said.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. I said the tenant let me in to the property.
You told us here got 5 minutes ago that the fucking door was wide open.
The door was open.
Okay, so he didn't open the door for you?
We knocked on the door. The tenant came. He let me in.
Who is we?
The city guy
You were
that
by
told
yourself
me
in the videos.
Can you describe
oh
this
my
tenant?
gosh.
That's actually
It might help
fine.
Chase
Go ahead
identify
and
who it was.
describe.
Yeah, because I can
Who?
go
Can you
after.
describe him? Because it might help Chase know who it
Describe
was.
who? The
The
tenant.
tenant who
That
let you
invited
in.
you in.
I think he had blonde hair. And
Anything else?
medium size. I could recognize him. There's only 11 people
Well, if
who
you
live
could just
there, right?
describe
Or
him,
10
that would be
people.
better because it's very easy to
Well,
recognize
you
someone
should be able to
that you
recognize the
see.
people.
Well,
you
I
see all
live
the
there.
time.
I'll just look out my window and see if I can find the guy. Come on. You guys, get
Yeah,
a
I
freaking life,
understand
man.
what you're saying, but
If
do you
Chase is
understand
smart,
how this is
He'll go
not
to the real
appropriate?
estate board and have your
She's
license.
smart. And
He'll
what
go
does
to the
that
real
have to
estate board
do
and
with
have
it?
your license
Why?
because you did this
Because
illegally.
he has better things to
You
do.
did this illegally.
People do things wrong all the time.
Yes.
You could follow me around and find a lot of things that I do wrong. Why you feel like you
Why would
have
I-
the
why
time
would I
to come
follow
here
you
and
around?
roast me at an HOA meeting?
This is
I
just
have no
really
idea.
inappropriate. It was really inappropriate what you did as a board member.
I agree with
And
you.
as a neighbor, you should never have walked into somebody's house.
I agree with you, and
So-
I can only tell you now that I am sorry. That was not my intention. I did not go over there to go in your house and go take pictures of the showers.
Well,
I
then
just
why
got
did you do
curious
it?
because the guy allowed me in to do it.
Why did you take pictures?
Because I
You
wanted
went in
to.
there. You went in there to look.
Yeah, I'm
You went in
done.
there.
I'm
you
over
went in
it.
there
I've
to
already
find the
answered
guy
this
that owned the
question.
car. Why did you take pictures?
I've already answered this
I
question.
think
No,
at the
you have
end
not.
of the day,
Yes, I have.
there is no reason that you needed to go in, that you
And
needed
take
to take
pictures.
photos.
Well,
Everything should have
you
been
guys
avoided.
can beat the shit out of me over and over, but whatever happened, happened. I've already said I'm sorry.
But can
and
you take ownership
so-
that that was not appropriate and understand why that's
Yes, I can.
completely
What else
not
would you like
okay?
me to take ownership for?
I'm
You've been making
confused why you're
excuses.
very
You're saying I'm a
defensive
realtor,
about
I'm a
this.
neighbor, I had the
I'm just
authority to go do
telling
that.
you that that's who I am, and that's why I did it.
So that's why we want you off the board, is because we're worried that you're going to do
But
this
you're
again.
on the board, and you don't even show up to meetings, and you don't have enough people here on the board.
But he's never walked into my house without my permission and
Okay,
taking
well,
videos.
he hasn't done a whole lot of other things that I've probably done that are wrong too. You really want to know everything that is wrong with Cynthia? Come on.
So
Don't you have something else better to do? I mean, isn't this running the HOA business giving you enough of a headache as it is?
oh, it is.
I think you've done a pretty good job, but I don't think you need to prove yourself, you know, by roasting me at a
I'm
HOA
not-
meeting.
I'm not trying to roast you.
Well, that's
I'm
okay.
very
Right.
frustrated, and that's why I called the city attorney. And
I have nothing to
You
prove
guys
other
can
than
do
to
whatever
apologize.
you want to do, but gosh darn it,
On
I
behalf
can
of the
only
board.
say
You're not a victim here, Cynthia. No one is no one is coming at you. Simply, you made an action. There is a consequence. That was inappropriate. That's it. That's it.
well, okay, so now if you want to talk about what the consequences are going to be, what were the damages that were done to this, to you?
This is, Cynthia, I'm saying there are
Well, no,
repercussions to your
yeah,
action.
exactly.
That's
So I
all
have to
I'm
go
saying.
to a criminal, I have to go talk to an officer about a criminal accusation. And
Well,
the accusation, it was not for something that was criminally done.
Yeah, trespassing is a criminal.
Well, that's
crime.
okay. You know what? Y'all can just talk to my attorney from this point on, and I'll send the bills to who?
It's the city attorney though.
Oh, you're not covered by the DNO for criminal action.
What are you talking about, the
So before
DNO?
Cynthia leaves, can I get your vote?
What
saying
are
you're
you
outstanding?
talking about?
That is the directors and officers insurance policy that covers lawsuits against directors and officers.
And what lawsuit are you talking about? Is somebody
You're
suing
you're
you?
the one saying you're gonna bring your attorney, you can talk to my attorney.
No, I need to
Who
be.
pays for that? I'm telling you.
I
we
need
do
to
not
know-
pay for that.
I
You do.
have somebody who's going to the city
So,
and filing a criminal report for
Do you wanna vote?
trespassing.
do you want to vote?
Why would I need to vote?
Okay, a quorum has been reached based on the emails that we have received, and those who are present, we have unanimous votes to remove Cynthia Van Elst from the board of
Well, I don't
directors.
believe
Minus
that's
Mrs.
true.
Myers, I'm sorry, Mrs. Myers
I don't believe
voted
it's true,
to.
and I don't believe that other people.
Oh, I can actually produce the emails. I won't to protect people's privacy, but in court,
People aren't
I
here.
will be happy to do that.
This is why you don't have people a part of an HOA because of this crap.
Anyway, you have been removed from the board.
Okay,
We will need you to return all HOA property. You've already been removed from the checking
what
account.
HOA
You have
property do I-
checks. I need to remove the camera from you. You have the controller for the camera inside. You've already unplugged it because you didn't want footage of the police officer knocking on your door, trying to reach you multiple times.
You're not the only one who has cameras around their house. And the next time I find somebody who's throwing banana peels or any other trash into my backyard to make my dog sick,
And appeals.
I'll be filing my harassment
Please
suits
do.
against you people.
Knock yourself out.
What a wonderful neighborhood to live in.
Well, you could always move.
You can always move.
You're damn right I sure can. Me and my handicapped kid can go get ourselves reacquainted somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have serious personal issues.
All right. So that brings us to old business. The old business being that we are in the process of working with the water conservation group to remove all of the lawns and replace them with gravel to help us save us a lot of money in water. That was Cynthia's job. So I'll be taking that on unless somebody else is interested in picking that up. Most of the legwork has been done. We have to choose the plants. The plants have been listed on the Eastgate HOA.org website for people to look at and decide, which plants they would like on their units. But as we've discussed many times in the past, this move will save us around $1,000 a month just in water costs and another $1,000 in landscaping costs. So it's a significant savings, and the water conservation group reimburses us for the expense of doing that up to $50,000, which we don't have $50,000 to spend on it. So it'd be 100% reimbursement of what we end up spending on it. So is there anybody interested in taking that project on? Okay, I'll be taking the project on.
What did Jennifer? She was working with the landscaper to do the project.
She never did. It was Cynthia was going to work with the landscaper, and she never did. So I see the landscaper. He comes to Days Hardware where I work every day, just about. So I see him all the time.
So you do have that contact spot.
Well,
Previous.
Yeah.
Cedar.
He was Debbie's person.
Well, Jason had expressed that he was interested in doing that, but Cynthia never reached out to him and set that up. So I talk to him all the time.
I just brought up that because the guy that we've got Ty that's doing it over at the HOA that we're in, he's covering the cost until the reimbursement comes through. So
Yeah, I know. I'd like to see if he would do that. and I'll talk to him
Who's
about it.
this tied to right there?
I know his last name, to be honest. I just knew him by his first name. But he works for asset management. He does all their properties.
I think that is tied with Arthur. I think he's the one that did the fence on
and
4-5 right by the middle.
No, that was Matt Moden. I hired him.
he was the one we originally got the bid from.
Oh, it's half who we got the, yeah, I remember I saw MacArthur Landscape. He's an old fraternity brother.
So yeah, I'll get going on that. We're about ready, but if everybody can go look at the website, there's about a dozen different plants that are they all meet the requirement of the low water plants and 50% coverage of those plants. So
How
potential.
do I get to that?
What's that?
How do I get to view those plans?
It's on the Eastgate HOA website. This stupid thing does not want to let me get it.
I can tell you what it is, what the site's called.
Are you seeing my screen? I'm not sure if I'm still sharing it.
It's just
Right here.
Okay. Yeah. All righty. Okay.
So
And
if you click on those, then all of the different plants are there with their names, and if you know of another water-wise plant that will grow, because what happens is they won't cover 50% when they're planted, but their expected maturity, they need to cover 50% of the landscaping. So if you know of something that spreads and is low water, and it's not on that list, just shoot me an email with what you'd like. We want people to have stuff in their yard that they like. And
I was thinking of some ground cover.
what's that?
I was thinking of some ground cover. Something that grows rapidly and will cover the front part, but look nice,
Yeah, I mean, we have to be careful because what we found out with Pete's unit is he had that, what is that stuff called? That ground fir or whatever it is, that evergreen stuff.
It's actually a bush, isn't it?
It was a bush, and it continued growing, and it actually caused some foundation issues for him. And
I've got it in front of my property too, but I trim it all the time. So.
it is a bear to get up. I had it in my backyard, and those vines were everywhere under the ground.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
But so we've got stuff like this lamb's ear that spreads and is ground cover. This lavender.
That stuff brings in a lot of bees.
Yeah, I like bees.
Well, as long as you're not allergic or anything.
Yeah. This ice plant, this apricot ice plant, it spreads. But yeah, all of these are hummingbird and bee and butterfly friendly. So
Oh, good.
but yeah, just look through them and let me know. And all right. Is there any other business that we need to know about?
So I wasn't here last month. Wrestling season just got over. I had my banquet tonight. That's why I was late.
Okay.
So the bill that I got was for the sewer line.
Right.
How come I'm getting that bill?
So you didn't go back and watch the meeting.
It's not posted.
So
I tried.
it's there.
Wasn't on there.
I think that's when we were starting to have problems with the.
I feel like the last one that's live on there is August.
We got on and then we had to reboot it like twice.
Oh, is it a caching issue?
We were talking and he goes, how come no one's calling or getting
Oh, what the
on?
heck?
Finally someone called, oh yeah, maybe we need to reboot. And when we reboot, then it went.
And then put it on the homepage. It's under the meeting minutes, video archive. No,
You had a bunch on there, but the last one I think was like August.
June 28th. What the heck?
Yeah, there was no new ones.
I apologize for that. There still some technical issues I'm working at. YouTube was crashing. I'm trying to upload it. The discussion that we had was when we talked with the city. They told us that what had happened is inappropriate items have been flushed. Condoms, maxi pads were a big one, and flushable wipes, which are not flushable. They create something called a fatberg. They can build up. So that pipe had been blocked, which caused it to disconnect from the city sewer line.
So the pictures were the line that actually broke.
Well,
There was a crack that was in it.
I'm not
It
done.
wasn't fully broke yet, but
It disconnected from the city's line. That leaking caused the city's line to drop 3 feet. That's why they're
see, this
digging
is
up.
according to the city though,
Yes.
because it could have been the city line that fell. Caused
So
the
I
break.
asked him that. He actually has camera footage. They run a remote camera through those, and he has a timeline that he's happy to provide of what's going on. And they could have charged us for the repair to the city's sewer line, which they're not going to do, thank God. That line, your 2 units are the only sewer on that line. The rest of the complex goes to the other street. And so we had a couple members on there, and we even opened that. What do you think? And they even agreed that since that's your sewer line and that by
So
we're residents.
and I get where you're coming from. However, that's not how it's done. So the HOA as a whole is in charge of the sewer line. That's why we pay the sewer to the HOA. According to the CCNRs, the HOA takes care of any common area.
Unless damage is done to that by the owners. And
Sure.
And anybody in that complex is responsible for the actions of their tenants, any renter.
Right, but flushing something down the toilet is not intentional damage
It's
to the
not
line.
it's negligent damage.
Okay, well, we don't know if that was 4 years ago, 10 years ago.
We don't, but that is your sewer
so-
line.
Well,
He does know
it's
it's not.
actually- it's the
We know
HOA
it's not
sewer line.
4. We know it's not 4 years ago, based on the camera footage that he has.
Well, it's
So
the
it's
HOA
within a
sewer
year.
line. It's not my sewer line. It's the HOA sewer line.
It is the
And it
HOA
is-
sewer line that services only your
That's fine.
residences.
That's fine. So it's the HOA sewer line. So that being said, it would be covered under the HOA.
However, we did vote on it as a board.
That's
And we also put it out to the members who are in attendance, who also agreed that the HOA should not be responsible for the actions.
Well,
of their
nobody
tenants.
wants to be, that's like when we had to pull up the road and fix the water line. Nobody wanted, but that was in front of 2 other people's properties that
Yeah.
they didn't have to pay for it.
But
Yeah,
did
they
they
should
cause the
pay for it.
damage?
Who's to say they didn't?
The water line?
Yeah, they drive over it every day.
Well, everybody drives over it.
So who's to say that the people aren't? I mean,
Well, I mean, that was a decision that the board made with input from members.
okay, well, I've got my attorney looking into it to make sure that it's right and legal, because as far as I can see, it's not. It would be HOA covered. It wouldn't be individual covered. So,
You're absolutely welcome to do that.
well, that's the problem. So that I have with that. If it was just my line and I wasn't paying sewer through the HOA, absolutely that'd be my coverage. Just like me repairing my own roof. But this is an HOA covered thing. So one homeowner shouldn't be covering, because I mean, who's to say that doesn't happen to somebody else, but because the other 20 units go through the other sewer line, who are you going to charge? See, that's
Those are all good points, but it doesn't change
So-
anything.
well, no, it doesn't. It has to change something though.
It doesn't.
So, well, so I guess I'll have my attorney send it in, but that's where that's at so far. So I won't be paying that until my attorney's finished.
No, I don't blame you. Any other business? All right. Chase, you and I are the only 2 board members here right now, so let's set the next meeting. Which,
Wednesday?
yeah, which, if we follow our pattern, would be March 27th.
Good.
7 p.m.
Yep.
Hopefully here. He's not charging me rent, so when he kicks me out, I mean, I gotta go. But all right. Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in favor? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you, Mrs. Myers.